All right. So hello, everyone, and thanks for joining today's webinar. I'm Mark Jesus, a digital accessibility specialist at Accessible Web, and in this webinar, we'll be covering remediation task in RAMP. So once audit results are delivered, this is the area within RAMP where you'll be spending majority of your time, as this is where audit results will be contained. So when you access RAMP and navigate to your site, you'll land on the overview page, and then from there, you're going to select the remediation task tab here to view all tasks, which are organized by template. So the items you want to key in on this table are the task title, the status, and tags. Each task has a title and associated tag, which usually matches the template name. So for example, if the template name is homepage, the tag will also be homepage. We have a filter and sort widget here, which we recommend using as the task list can become overwhelming quite quickly. If you prefer to tackle tasks one template at a time, you can filter by tags to view specific groups for tasks. Once the option is selected, however, you can only view results for that specific page. Another common filtering option is by success criteria, and there are many success criteria to choose from. Some people start by addressing contrast issues. In some cases, clients discover that if contrast issues appear across multiple screens, they can be resolved in the back end rather than fixing each screen individually, which saves time. So you notice that each task has a status. By default, each task will have the status of to do, which happens on delivery of a task. So there's 6 statuses in total: to do, in progress, exception, on hold, ready for review, and completed. When tasks are in progress, it's typically set by members of the team to indicate that they are working on a task. On hold occurs either when the solution is being discussed internally by the team or when there's a fix that will take longer to perform. Ready for review is used when the fixes have been implemented to the staging environment. So when tasks are marked as ready for review, you can inform your accessibility specialist to go and review these tasks to ensure that changes have been made correctly. If the changes have been made, the task will be marked as complete. Otherwise, if there's still unresolved accessibility issues, we'll move the task back to do, add a comment, and refine the task details to clarify what still needs to be worked on. Lastly is exception, which is used upon conversation if there are third-party content causing accessibility issues. So for instance, a common third-party content issue we see is on Google iframes. So if there's Google iframes injected into the site and I find an accessibility issue during an audit, I'm going to document those issues since they're present on the site. However, if these issues cannot be remediated by you or addressed with an alternative method, they'll be marked as an exception in RAMP. If you're receiving a VPAT, there will be a note that these failures exist, but they are due to third-party content. So moving into a specific task, the structure of each task is the name of the template, followed by the name of the failure. Below the name of the task, there will be a link to the page that was audited, followed by a link to the success criteria that the failure falls under. So on the specific task itself, we indicate what we're looking for, what it should do, and what we'll call out what specific failures are there and where it is located. So the task shown on screen is a more complex one because it has to do with design patterns. However, other accessibility issues are not as complicated, such as fixing contrast issues and adjusting headings. For this issue, we provided detailed remediation recommendations for creating a tabs widget. So we blocked out 2 sections, what needs work and what has already been completed. This helps ensure that necessary updates are made without unintentionally updating elements that are already correct. So some things to note about our remediation recommendation is that we always prioritize using native elements as much as possible before getting into custom markup like ARIA. Native elements are more reliably accessibly across various combinations of browsers and assistive technologies, and they don't require as much additional code markup as compared to custom widgets. Our recommendations are the most robust so that when these changes are implemented, you won't need to fix them in the future. We also have an affected element section, which is used when components are difficult to describe in the text section above. So we can add a code snippet to the component itself, or we may add a screenshot of the issue instead. There's also a comment and question section at the bottom of the page. This is a great place to ask clarifying questions or let the specialist know extra details about the created task. You can also use this section to communicate internally with your team or just make notes. If you plan to use this section to communicate to someone directly, we ask that you use the @ before typing a person's name to ensure that they receive a notification. If you forget who is working on the audit, below activity, you'll see the name of the individual who created the task. But if you're a subscriber to the RAMP Pro Plus, you can find your dedicated accessibility specialist in your organization. So another method to create remediation task is via the audit grid. So the audit grid serves as a visual representation of your manually auditing process. Each success criterion contains different tests to audit for conformance. So you can launch a test from the grid by selecting a success criteria and activating the perform test component. Each cell in the grid will display its corresponding page's manual auditing status. These statuses will automatically display as you interact with the testing window. So the statuses are as follows: to do, which is represented by the dash. It means no tests have been conducted. Incomplete testing is represented by a half-filled triangle. It means some but not all tests were performed. Not applicable is represented by a circle slash. It means criterion doesn't apply to the testing content. Open task is a task icon with a number. It means that all tests were performed, but there are some open tasks to complete. And completed is a check mark, and this means that all tests were performed. If you have automated scanning failures on your site, you will be able to view them on the landing page and the automated scanning page. You're going to receive recommended action items that will show you the estimated impact on your automated accessibility score, and the default setting for that status will automatically update if the system detects that is no longer present. So here we have a screenshot of the automated scanning page that shows the fix your automated scores section. There are multiple tasks here. So when you press the add a task button for any of the recommended action items, it will automatically populate the task in the recommended or the remediation task page, and you'll be able to view the specific details for that task as well. So how can we help you? We provide consulting and training services where an accessibility specialist can support you in navigating remediation tasks, prioritizing them effectively, verifying proper implementation, offering additional guidance tailored to your needs. We have our web accessibility software, which is our RAMP platform. There are other tools in there as well that can help facilitate continuous compliance with updated accessibility standards. We offer accessibility audits for web and mobile applications where we perform comprehensive audits for you and share the results with you through RAMP. And we also provide voluntary product accessibility templates, or VPATs, which is a formal report that outlines how a product or service complies with accessibility standards. So thanks for taking the time to join us for this webinar, and we can have some discussion here and some questions.